Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inside Golf. I'm Harry Donahue. The Golf Association of Philadelphia is the oldest regional or state golf association in the United States. It all began in 1897 at a meeting of a few members from 4 different clubs in the area. GAP now has more than 300 club members, and it consists of more than 90,000 golfers. Today, here on Inside Golf, we're going to recognize the evolution of the Golf Association of Philadelphia and the continuing legacy on and off the golf course. It's the 125th anniversary of GAP on a special edition of Inside Golf. The 25th season of Inside Golf is presented by Destination MONTCO Golf. Your next golf getaway is in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Visit MONTCOGolf.com. By the First Tee Greater Philadelphia. The First Tee not only helps young men and women become better golfers, but most important, better people. Get involved. Visit firstteephiladelphia.org. By the Philadelphia Association of Golf Course Superintendents, a community of professionals enhancing the game of golf since 1925. Make sure you thank your golf course superintendent today. By GAP, celebrating 125 years of amateur golf. By Jersey Man and Philly Man magazine, a digital publication and private business network. Read the current issue free at jerseymanmagazine.com. By the Haverford Trust Company. For life's must-haves, there's Haverford. And by Inside Golf's partner since 1998, the Philadelphia PGA Section, the experts in the game and business of golf.
Golf is the great equalizer. For many, this journey is an escape from reality, a chance to be part of a team, a career opportunity. PGA Reach impacts lives through golf by lifting people up, giving them hope, and sending them down an alternate path that they never saw coming. With PGA Reach Philadelphia, as in life and in golf, the most important shot you take is the next one.
And welcome back to Inside Golf as we continue with show number 3 of our tribute to the Golf Association of Philadelphia, now celebrating its 125th anniversary. It is the oldest state regional golf association in America. All began thanks to a meeting of some, 7 members of 4 clubs in an office along Market Street that is now Reading Terminal. And here we are sitting on the deck overlooking Aronimink, which was one of the founding clubs, by the way, back in 1897, talking about 125 years later. Our panel, the current president of GAP is Oscar Mestre. Mark Peterson, for the last 22 years, has been GAP's executive director. Quinn Spitzer, past president, and the Hall of Famer, Jay Sigel. Let's talk about, Mark, what is known as Philadelphia's golf charity. It began in 1958 thanks to the Golf Association of Philadelphia, and it is the J. Wood Platt Caddy Scholarship. I think some $24 million since 1958 have been awarded to some 3,500 caddy recipients. That's a lot of numbers right there. Tell us about its origins and where it's going.
Certainly. So back in 1958, it was great to have the vision of individuals like Leo Frazier with the PGA. Walter Schmidt was a past president of GAP. Obviously, J. Wood Platt, the namesake, he was also the first donor. Our first scholar went to Notre Dame. Fast forward now, we are just thrilled to have the support of all of the golfers and member clubs here in Philadelphia, and able to give away a need-based scholarship with maximum grants of $10,000 per scholar. But we're over $1 million a year in tuition aid. I think while we're thrilled to have the history that we've had, we're even more excited about the future that we've had. Some growth in staff, as well as expanding programs through the Empower program, leadership, internships, focus on youth caddy development, big things to come.
Yeah, young ladies involved too,
Absolutely.
Oscar. I'm always, when I pick up a little plug for Marty Emino, Director of Communications for the Golf Association of Philadelphia, and the great magazine that he publishes, 4 times a year. I love to see those articles about the lady caddies, you know, high school kids, college kids, who have benefited too from the Platt Scholarship Foundation.
And I'll tell you what, it's humbling to read their resumes. You know, when we go to these selection meetings and you hear about the accomplishments of both the men and women caddies, makes me feel like I was standing still at that age. They're truly, you know,
I don't think I've ever had
great ambassadors for the program and for caddies in general.
Yeah, it's some stiff competition to get that scholarship.
You know, Harry, if I may, think of the wonderful club just down the road, St. David's. They have over 30 female caddies, right? And the efforts of Huntington Valley getting so many young kids out there, partnering with the First Tee, partnering with the Snyder Youth Hockey Foundation to get kids out there caddying, touching the game. It's an exciting time for caddies again.
You know, Quinn, we're talking here about the scholarship, but it's another example of what GAP does off the golf course. Where does GAP, do you think, its legacy fit into the Philadelphia community? Not just as a competition of 18 holes, but things like the Platt Scholarship.
Well, you know, we've tried to link to so many different organizations. We've tried to support the First Tee. Mark already mentioned the things that we've been doing with Snyder Hockey. We're trying to go ahead and be a good partner, as well as try to reach out to as many aspects of the community as possible. Anytime you have a sport that has the ability to serve youth, all the way from little kids, all the way up to teenagers, women, all the adults, private and public golfers, when you have the ability to do that, your tentacles go far through the community and you can add a lot of value to these people. And it's really great to see the expanse of people that we're able to serve.
All your years of playing as an amateur in Golf Association of Philadelphia events, do you have any good caddy stories? Did you have the same caddy all the time, Jay?
No, but I did at, for instance, Pine Valley oftentimes had the same Elmer Larson, who was just fabulous. I credit him with a number of my victories. Alex up at Torresdale, Frankfurt, 81 years old in the heat, got around just, well, maybe a little better than I did at the time. The caddies, I think over the years have taken the caddies for granted. There's a lot of training involved, a lot of education, and our clubs are to be congratulated on where we are.
Yeah. We are going to come back after a break with segment 2 today. We're going to ask Jay to tell us a little bit about how playing in GAP events, and he probably played in as many as anybody, helped prepare him for life beyond GAP, not just as an amateur, but you know, Jay, when he turned 50, went to the senior tour, and he only won 10 professional events as well. So I think you'll want to hear about how preparation, those years as a junior and moving forward to the latter stages of his career, helped this guy become a Hall of Famer. We'll be back with our panel from Aronimink. It is another special edition of Inside Golf commemorating GAP's 125th anniversary, and it continues in a moment. The oldest state or regional golf association in the country hits a milestone this year. GAP celebrates its 125th birthday. Celebrating amateur golf since 1897, GAP has evolved to include 300-plus member clubs, more than 90,000 individual members. It offers events for males and females of all ages and ability levels. GAP continues to uphold its mission to preserve, protect, and promote the game of golf. Happy birthday, GAP.
Go ahead. You can have my turn.
Oh my, you have to see this.
Come on,
You can have this kind of summer.
Guys.
Or this kind of summer. This summer, the real entertainment is on the road. Don't miss out on your dream car during the BMW Summer On sales event. Receive a loyalty credit of up to $1,750 on select models now through August 1st.
And welcome back to Inside Golf. Beautiful day here at Aronimink. And our panel, Oscar Mestre, Mark Peterson, Quinn Spitzer, and Jay Sigel. I teased in that last segment, Jay, we're going to ask you how playing in GAP events. And by the way, you ready? You won 19 majors in the Golf Association of Philadelphia over the course of your Hall of Fame career, 6 Philadelphia Opens, and the list goes on. But let's talk about how playing in GAP events prepared you for your career nationally, internationally, as a amateur and also as a professional.
Okay. Interestingly, I only won the Golf Association of Philadelphia match play event twice. That says a lot of things about match play. Later in my career, I learned how to play match play, and maybe we can talk about that someday. But oftentimes, and I'd say 70% of the time, I wasn't playing well. So did I want to go play and let people see my score? That was kind of a tough situation. So my dad would remind me that you can't win if you don't enter. And I'd say 2 or 3 times in my life I can remember, no way was I going to go. He talked me into it, and I won, interestingly enough. I don't know how that happened, but your game does turn around oftentimes. So the exposure of playing a different golf course, 36 holes, stroke play, knowing, and I know all the sports writers here very, very well, they're going to see me, how you doing, what happened, so on and so forth. You've got to discuss the situation, how you're playing and so on, and what's next. Well, I know it was in the paper, and I had to be on my game. I mean, I had to pay attention to what I was doing. So that added pressure made me work harder.
Okay. Quinn, none of us had the career that this guy had.
Not even close.
Not even close. Thank you very much for adding that. But how about you yourself? Now, getting up there in age and a lot of competitions that you've been involved with, slowed down a little bit now, but playing GAP events, what's it meant for you and your golf career?
Well, my golf game is actually somewhat in the sewer, but what it does is it really gets you energized because you get to see people who can really play the game. And you look at it and you say, I can't do that, but every once in a while I can hit a shot that looks like a shot that they hit. And that makes a big difference.
Right. Oscar, you're still very, very competitive. Despite your youthful looks, you're a little bit older maybe than you may appear, but you got a busy schedule.
Yep.
Business career, executive with GAP. When you finally do get out there with a club in your hand, you draw on all your experiences, some good, some not so good, from being a competitor in GAP.
Well, honestly, listen, I've been the beneficiary of some great people like Jay Siegel that came before me, right? One of my favorite memories in all of GAP was 1984. I made my first honorary team, Mason-Dixon match team, and who was our captain? Jay Siegel. Played at Baltimore Country Club, 5 Farms. I mean, I was youthful back then, and I mean, looking up to Jay, I mean, he was greater than life. So having been on a team that he captained, and my 15 minutes of exposure and conversation with him and watching him go about his preparation had a tremendous effect on me. And so GAP helps you, that's how GAP helped me on the competition side. And again, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that one of my favorite memories was also, is what we accomplished at Overbrook Golf Club in the team event. In the team event from 1981 to 2011, right? We won the team championship 14 times.
Wow.
And that was again about learning to compete, competing with the Thompsons and Langs, McFaddens, and learning how to compete. That was the microcosm of all that we learned in GAP. And so that's what I will always treasure.
Yeah. Mark, you're executive for 22 years, executive director of GAP, but you get a kick out of listening to some of these stories that preceded you, and now you're right in there in the middle of everything. Do the younger players appreciate? When I say younger players, the guys in their 20s, whatever, that are coming up, good players. Do they appreciate the history that we've been talking about here?
Well, they certainly should. No, they certainly do. It's fun to watch the players advance through the ranks from the juniors to being young amateurs to being mid-amateurs. You know, they currently right now they're looking up to some of the modern soon-to-be Hall of Famers, right? Individuals like Mike McDermott and you know, Jeff Osberg. But I think of young players that come to me and say, hey, it's really fun for us to go to a national competition having started here in Gap.
And to represent
and
Gap.
to represent Gap, right?
Yeah, sure.
So it is exciting to see. The events take a lot of preparation, a lot of time, but it's far worth it when you see the smile on their face or see them excel at the national level.
Are there more good young players today than there used to be, or is that hard to
Well,
judge
this is
right
when
now?
we're saying today versus 124 years of history, hard to compare. We've got some legends in Philadelphia golf, but
Yeah.
we've got a lot of
The
strong
bar is
young
set,
players.
The bar is set pretty high.
Exactly.
In terms of the legacy.
More motivation for them to strive for.
There you go. All right, stay with us. We'll be back, wrap things up on this third special edition of Inside Golf at Gap at 125.
He's just crying.
Yeah.
I remember that.
He can't regain his composure for no matter what.
And welcome back. Inside Golf continues with our teed off panel. Once again, we are assembled here on the back deck at Lulu Country Club in Upper Dublin Township. Beautiful sunny day here at Lulu. We got a great panel once again assembled. And let me introduce you first to Jim Sullivan. He's a member here at Lulu. When John Rusk, who is the general manager, has an idea, he always bounces it off this guy.
I don't know about that, but thanks for having me, Hank.
Whatever. And then from where it goes after that, who knows? The president of Gap is back with us. That would be Oscar Mestry from Overbrook. And we also have Joe Giuliano. Good to see you again, Joe.
Good to see you,
Joe,
Harry.
for years, covered the game of golf for the Inquirer, along with many other sports. But I don't know, was golf your favorite cover?
Only
It's
in
hard
the-
to say.
In the summertime it was, yes.
Yeah, okay. Not when it's snowing in 20. I don't know if anything is your favorite when it's snowing in 22 below. You know, we all have, speaking of favorites, we all have favorites, Joe, when it comes to sports, different athletes, and golf is no exception, I don't think. And I'm not just asking you now to give me a couple of your 2 or 3 favorite pro golfers, but any golfers, you know, somebody that only you know and why that person made the list. But give me a couple names that stand out to you.
Well, being a member of the media, you always look for the guys who are the best as far as cooperating with the media, and no one ever beat the dynamic duo of Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer. And I know you were looking for somebody, you know, more a modern player.
Well, I can identify with you.
But Jack Nicklaus, I mean, I always go back to this time at the Masters where, you know, Jack would always come in maybe on a Tuesday before the Champions Dinner and just give his state of the whatever, and he always encouraged questions. And one year he was done after 10. He had gone 10 minutes, and the moderator said, "Well, Jack, we thank you very much. Have a good week." And Jack goes, "No, wait a minute. I mean, these guys are out here. They want to ask me questions." He says, "I'll stay as long as you guys want me to stay."
They need a story, right?
And you're like, "Oh, thank you, Jack."
Really?
And Arnold was the same way. I mean, you know, never really had a problem with answering question after question. Although, like the '94 Open at Oakmont, where that was his last Open, and he gets in the media room and 2 questions and he's out because he's just crying.
I remember that.
He can't regain his composure for no matter what. But those were the 2. And if I go for modern golfers, Justin Rose was always like my favorite because, you know, winning at Merion was one thing, but it's nice when you're in media and you go, "Hey, have you been to Merion lately?" And then he'll always go, "Oh yeah," because I guess he's kind of a semi-member there now.
I think he's a paying member.
Goes there,
Goes there
honorary
in the fall
tag, and has all. So those are my guys.
Okay, good list. How about you, Oscar?
You know, I mean, Nicklaus in my age group, Nicklaus and Palmer would be, you know, favorites on the tour. I'm going to take a slightly different tact. I'm going to say, you know, having played Gap events for 50 years, I mean, the people, you know, been blessed to play with some great friends, some great people, or people that have become my friends. And you know, so there's certain pairings you go, oh man, I really enjoy that. I mean, I've gotten paired with Jimmy Sullivan. That's always a treat.
No, we're talking for favorite players now, Oscar.
That's always a treat. You know, I think of guys like we Overbrook competed a lot against Yardley over the years. So the Bartolacci brothers.
Yeah.
I mean, guys that we knocked heads for a long time, but we've become great friends, and you really enjoy spending the day with them.
Right.
So I think of people like that, you know, and of course at Overbrook, you know, all the guys that took turns beating me, you know, Ray Thompson, Andy Thompson, Chris Lang, you know, it's great players, good people, and that's what I took this question, my angle on this question, people you really love being around.
Right, right. How about you, Sully?
Yeah,
does Oscar make your list, or?
Absolutely would. Let me tell you, if there's
Now he does.
If a pairing comes out and I see Oscar on it, I know it's going to be a good day. That's for sure.
Okay.
When I saw the question, I thought about it, and when I was a kid, you know, in the say mid '80s, late '80s, learning and playing a lot of golf, I have no idea what started it, but Payne Stewart was like the guy I loved. And the guy I played a ton of golf with loved Greg Norman. And they were sort of, I don't know if Payne would have even been the number 2 or 3 guy. I doubt he was, but he was my guy. And the other guy liked Greg Norman, who was kind of the king of the world at that point in golf. And Payne's swing was beautiful. Always I'm not sure what it was about him that attracted me to him, but he was sort of my early golf kind of star. Obviously Palmer and Nicklaus are, you know, natural. As I grew up, and golf is, you know, I've always just never lost the love for golf. Watching Tiger Woods play golf, I mean, I don't ever carve out you know, not so much in the last few years, but through those 15 years of just his dominance, I would carve out a Sunday afternoon if he was in contention in the Travelers Championship in a regular tournament. I'd carve it out just because something about the way he was. Obviously, he was just so dominant. Just his shots, I loved watching. Local guys, just to feed off of Oscar a little bit, there was a guy in that generation prior, Bucky Earhart from Wilmington area is one of those characters. I was lucky enough to caddy for him a handful of times as a young kid, even played a team match finals against Big Bill in one match. Yeah. So I've got Bill Hyman, who's an all-time legend, and Bucky Earhart, who's certainly a local legend, and just one of the coolest days, just the coolest guy, you know, that you could ever be on the golf course with. I don't know if he ever lit it, but he would start with a cigar this long and just chewed it. I think he just chewed the thing down. It was about the most disgusting thing you could imagine by the end of the day, but just the greatest guy. You know, we've been blessed. In this area, we're blessed, and maybe all areas because of golf, blessed by just great people. I remember losing to Frank McFadden in the Philadelphia Amateur that I showed, you know, in an early match that I thought I should have won, and I hate to say it, I couldn't have been happier for the guy. Yeah. He had beat McDermott in the morning and me in the afternoon, and I thought, God, this stinks, but this freaking guy is great. He's probably 50 years old, limping around, and beat the hell out of both of us.
Bucky cigar, that's going to make an impression on my mind for a long, long time. Gentlemen, thanks for your contributions. We'll be back. More of Inside Golf coming up in just a moment. Designed by Donald Ross, Lulu Country Club is one of the premier private golf courses in Montgomery County. This classic 18-hole course boasts a new state-of-the-art clubhouse with many amenities for members to enjoy. Members are invited to play in events, tournaments, and enjoy guest privileges. For more information, contact membership@lulucc.com.
Do you think this Valley Forge vacation was your idea? We've been controlling us the whole time. This racing game is great, but nothing beats the real thing.
That sloth you think I love so much gets me a free trip to the zoo.
They don't know they're hungry yet, but I do. I'm starving!
Charlie! Charlie! Works every time.
Just wait until you see what I plan for the next trip. Visit Valley Forge, where kids make the rules.
And welcome back to Aronimink. Welcome back to the final of our free editions of our shows, special editions of Inside Golf to commemorate the 125th anniversary of the Golf Association of Philadelphia. Quinn Spitzer, in addition to being a past president of GAP, you are also chairman of the 125th committee. I'm sure that has caused you a lot of, what should we say, anticipation to help celebrate a year-long event. What's the biggest event you got on the schedule?
Well, we have a lot coming up. We're going to be producing a 12-minute video for the history of GAP, including great people like Jay Siegel. We're going to have an opportunity for a number of gala meetings and opportunities for people to see what GAP has been all about over that 125 years. One of our events is going to include names such as Tom Fazio, Mike Wan, the executive director of the USGA, Jay Monahan, who's obviously the commissioner of the PGA Tour. So we have a lot planned. We're going to plan to get a lot of the video distributed to our member clubs so that everybody will have some opportunity to be able to sort of reach in and feel like they're part of the 125th anniversary celebration. There's so much to talk about that we're going to have the entire year in order to do a proper justice to 125 years of great golf and camaraderie.
Well, congratulations. I'm sure it's going to be a great spectacle when everything gets completed. People look back 125 years from now and know what they have to do to kind of match up what Quinn Spitzer and his committee has done. Congratulations, Quinn. Thanks also to Oscar Mestre, Mark Peterson, the Hall of Famer Jay Sigel, for joining us here at Aronimink. By the way, Bill Barry, club president, thank you, Bill, and your staff for your hospitality. This has been fun, you know, going down memory lane a little bit, especially with this guy. My memory's not that good anymore.
Pretty good.
His is pretty sharp. But Oscar and Mark, thanks for everything you do for the Golf Association and literally thousands of members, hundreds of clubs, and it continues to grow across the tri-state area. I'm Harry Donahue, and remember, no matter how bad it's going for you out there, never give up. Don't pick that ball up and say goodbye to golf. It's a big part, obviously, of our lives, and I hope it is for you as well. We'll see you next time here on Inside Golf. The 25th season of Inside Golf is presented by Destination MONTCO Golf. Your next golf getaway is in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Visit montcogolf.com. By the First Tee Greater Philadelphia. The First Tee not only helps young men and women become better golfers, but most important, better people. Get involved. Visit firstteephiladelphia.org. By the Philadelphia Association of Golf Course Superintendents, a community of professionals enhancing the game of golf since 1925. Make sure you thank your golf course superintendent today. By Gap, celebrating 125 years of amateur golf. By Jersey Man and Philly Man Magazine, a digital publication and private business network. Read the current issue free at jerseymanmagazine.com. By the Haverford Trust Company. For life's must-haves, there's Haverford. And by Inside Golf's partner since 1998, the Philadelphia PGA Section, the experts in the game and business of golf.